All right, it's a little after 6:30. Let's go ahead and get started, please. Do we have anybody online? Nobody, okay, thank you. All right, we do have a quorum. All members are present except James Graves. Usual microphone reminder, if you're going to be speaking, please make sure your microphone is on. We do need to adopt the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Briefly, any general public comment? Always ask that, okay. Okay, lots of new business here. Adoption of minutes from August the 6th, 2025. So everybody had a chance to look at those now. Any comments, questions, discussion on those?
I didn't read them word for word, given the fact that there was three sets worth, and some of them were pretty hefty. I did scan them. I tried to go over them, ahead of time. Obviously, people don't need to sit here watching us read, but
Yeah.
I didn't know, does the motion need to be made individually?
Yeah, let's do
Or-
one set at a time, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Start with the August 6th ones.
Everybody, no comments from anybody else?
No further comments?
Move to adopt the minutes from the August 6th, 2025 meeting as written and presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the minutes of August 6th meeting, 2025, as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Adoption of minutes from August 20th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I did make
Yes,
your
sir.
correction on that one, so we said restroom instead of restaurant, so
That was kind of significant.
appreciate you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on August 20th, 2025 minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the minutes be approved for August 20, 2025.
As corrected.
As corrected, second, yeah.
Motion been made and seconded for the minutes as corrected for August 20th, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And the adoption of minutes for September 3rd, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the adoption of the minutes from September 3rd, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we do have case number SU-09-25-01. Darrell Payne, special use permit for mini storage units. Darrell Payne has submitted an application for a special use permit for a mini storage facility on property as identified as Madison County Tax Map 40-19B. The subject parcel is 2.959 acres and is zoned B1. Mini storage units are a special permit use in the B1 zoning district, Article 8-2-11. The proposed activity is to take place in an existing building. No new structures are proposed. Alan, anything to add there?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This activity, and I'll let the applicant fully describe, but takes place where the Saddle Reliquidators is presently, or where they recently were. And so the applicant would just like to convert the interior space to mini storage units. It's pretty straightforward. At preliminary development review committee, VDOT stated that the commercial entrance already exists, and VDOT will not require any changes for this particular use. The health department said the space already has a bathroom and they would not require any changes. The building official said that if the special use permit is approved, that the applicant will need to apply for a change of use and obtain all necessary building permits prior to construction. There's no new buildings being proposed. All of this takes place inside the existing footprint. That's all I have for you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Alan on this?
Cut and dry.
Yeah. Everybody knows that this is it was once the old IGA grocery store there, so. All right, no questions for Alan. Would you like to address us? Give us an idea.
We'll bring
of
you a
what
microphone
plan?
if you got.
Yeah, I need a mic, 'cause I'm a soft-spoken person. Great, thank you. Yeah, I've owned the property there for over 20 years now, and I've had a couple different tenants, and my last one just moved out, gave me notice last month, moved it, he's completely moved out now. And had a couple of calls on it, but I feel like I can do better than having a tenant in there. I won't say I've had it with tenants, but they come with baggage. See, I think there's a need in Madison for climate control, self-storage, and that space, I believe, I've laid it out on paper, and it looks like it would be great for inside self-storage, and I believe I'd like to tackle that.
Okay.
Open for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Payne?
Just out of curiosity, how many units, or how would that be divided up?
It'd have several different size units, and it'd be somewhere between 35 and 40 units. It'd be some 5 by 10s, 10 by 10s, 10 by 15s.
Would you be building walls inside to make a
The
division?
units
or-
themselves basically would create the hallways. When you put the units up, and I see in the middle being back to back, and the outside walls having units, and then there'd be a walkway in between each, or a hallway in between each. The hallway at the front to access the other side.
Yeah, I know we discussed this at the preliminary meeting, but it won't have any disruption to any of the existing tenants you have there, the Piedmont Deli. You said you're going to review some of that to see if there are disturbances
No,
or disruptions.
I mentioned that to them, and I think they have no problem at all.
Okay, the building's empty now, right, correct? So
Yeah.
these are basically self-contained units that come in and are
I would have,
put in place.
I had a self-storage place in Wrkshop, and we used a company called Bedco, and they would come in and rehab the inside. They'd get the permits and everything that I would need, and they'd build the particular units and do everything for me. They'd do it. I'd turn it over to them, I'd get the permits and everything, let them build it, and then I'd manage it after they get
I
it
see.
built.
So it does involve building permits, and they will be building units inside then.
Yes.
I think one of the other things that, at the PDRC meeting you mentioned was that there's an existing restroom, but that's not, you don't plan on changing anything, and that's not gonna be for public use, basically.
That's correct.
So we don't have any health department problems, the VDOT, I think, said that the parking lot is more than adequate, if I remember correctly. Any other questions?
I don't know about a question, but I got a comment.
Mhm.
Maybe this is for Alan. I know Alan, most time we do 2 workshops. This is so simple, cut and dry, I just can't imagine that.
This is on my list to ask you, when your line of questioning was finished, if you all are satisfied, then I will simply invite Mr. Payne for his public hearing at the joint meeting and not another workshop.
I don't know, folks, I think it's all the building inspector. Nothing to it, but sewer, water, everything's there.
I agree.
Procedurally, whatever,
If you're satisfied,
well, I mean, as a workshop, we don't do a recommendation for the board or anything.
not until a joint meeting.
We can do a straw poll, I suppose.
Do we need public comment to weigh in, or any type
I
of
mean,
public?
ask for public comment, of
Yeah.
course, but
Okay.
To skip the second workshop, there has to be some kind of a
you're still gonna have a
formality.
joint meeting, and you're still going, it's gonna be advertised, neighbor letters are still gonna go out. And, you're not, all you're skipping is, unless you have new questions, which you'll have an opportunity to ask at the joint meeting, yeah.
Yeah, it still wouldn't be scheduled for, this is what-
It's gonna be the November meeting is when it'll go,
November, not
yes.
October joint meeting, okay. What's the feeling of the planning commission, basically? Straw poll, not required to? Okay. it's just the one. Okay. All right. On that basis, any public comment? Do we have anybody online? No, nobody online. All right, thank you, sir.
So,
Mr. Payne, we'll be in touch, and we'll see you in November.
all right, sounds good.
I'll put this one back up here.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Leaves you plenty of time. All right, case number ZOA-05-25-01, Al Esch, zoning text amendment, workshop again. Al Esch has proposed changes to Article 7, residential multifamily R3, in order to facilitate more orderly development of housing projects. Alan, anything to add there?
So we pushed this one back another month because Mr. Esch asked to modify his application for 7-3-1.1, which is the minimum lot area of 8,000 square feet. And so we've re-advertised, and so this one is scheduled for a public hearing on the 1st of October. So we had another time to talk about this, and since there was a lot to unpack, felt this was relevant to run through a workshop again. If there's further questions and discussion, that's here leading up to our public hearing. We did have a little bit of public comment last time, but for your consideration.
Okay, any questions for Alan? No? All right, Mr. Esch, would you like to add your 2 cents worth here again?
Well, I can't say that I have a lot to say tonight. I thought about this a lot. I felt like we had am I on?
Just click the button towards you, please. Just pull the little button. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Really, I felt like we had a valuable discussion last month. I think we had a lot of good questions, a lot of things to think about, and that was kind of where I brought up the idea of maybe moving it to 8,000 square feet. And I spoke with Alan, and I decided that I would like to do that. I guess for me, the bottom line of what I'd like to do in these changes is I would like to be a part of making our communities better in when we do developments. And I personally feel like this would be a good place to make some changes in our most dense area here in the county. So is it perfect? Probably not. I don't know that I can stand here tonight and convince you guys of anything. I just want to present what I feel like is a reasonable proposal for using data and zoning ordinances from some of our local counties around us to try to make our highest and most dense development better.
Okay, questions for Mr. Esch? Well, I'll get started then.
Sure.
We discussed, we understand the economics from your point of view.
Sure.
And we were looking for something that would make this more practical from the county's point of view.
Sure.
Since that time, I've been kind of thinking about this. I know would kind of put you on the spot, and you have to make some rough calculations. But can you give us an idea? We're always concerned about affordable housing.
Sure.
With what you're proposing as compared to, you showed us you had 2 plots.
Sure.
As compared to what exists now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you at least give us some idea about what kind of price point you could be looking at for a house on your proposed density as compared to what we have now?
So I would suggest, and this is, you just bear with me as I speak a little bit off the top of my head, it's a little bit like we talked about in the last meeting, this example of the development up here that Alan has on the screen now is a place where a young couple that barely can put two ends together can buy a little apartment that they can afford. And that probably, I would guess, would be in the there's nothing much out there for less than 400,000. Like, that's kind of the bottom line. And then when you move on out into individual lots and then to larger lots, and depending on where you're doing that, those homes probably should bring pushing 500 maybe. If you go to the development to my left, to your left as well, you go there, those are going to be classic estates that none of your local kids can purchase. That truly is the bottom line. And if we want to be able to have a place for our kids to start and to be able to afford something, that small orange, if you will, or brown squares that we have there on the displayed on the right is where they can start.
I mean, I don't dispute your facts, your figures there. It's just kind of scary. We're talking about
Sure,
$500,000 starter home is affordable. Yeah.
It's hard for kids.
Different generation.
It is.
Just off the top of your head, what would, you said they would be estate types. What kind of, are we talking about 700,000, or what are we talking about for those?
You're talking about the display on the left.
The older ones.
Yeah, I would say 6 maybe. I don't think Madison can quite push 7 yet on a regular basis. Yeah. It's the income level isn't quite here to be able to do that.
Okay. So if we recommend approving this amendment, affordability is a kind of a movable target for us.
It is. Okay. It is. And I think that that's kind of where we have to, when you would see a development like this come in front of you, this is just something to look at, an example, right? Yeah. When you would see a development like this come in front of you, I would anticipate that there would be a host of proffers that would come with this. And I think that in any given time that you do density like that, it should be expected. I would expect it because we have schools and it's always the sore subject to deal with, and that's the reality of it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Esch?
Yeah, so this isn't really so much of a question as
Sure.
Just math.
Sure.
So if you were to, the difference between the two, if you did it the way that you, like on the left, or my left, or
No, it's the same.
Same left.
Yep.
If you divide that, if you took 61 homes and you said there's going to be 4 people in each house, you're going to have 244 people in that area.
Mm-hmm.
If you do the density that you've recommended, it moves up to 162 times 4 people, which moves that to 648 people. Correct. So you've moved it from 244 to 648.
Mm-hmm.
Take half that away for 2 adults, just say 2 kids.
Sure.
That's 324 more kids into the, let's say, the school system.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought there is, we're going to probably deal with this one way or another at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But 122 kids is far different than another 324.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only, and that's just for the school system now.
Sure.
And plus and that's kind of where that's going with the schools. You got a big difference in ingress, egress.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just looking at this, and I'm trying not to look at just this one particular
I appreciate
example.
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But because that's what that would show me
Mm-hmm.
on this one. But just if in the general area of the differences between the two, it's 3 times as many people in that one area.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do the townhomes and the multifamily houses, each one of those added 300 people. The way it's the way that that's drawn on the right-hand side. That was
Sure.
another 50 people, and each one times 3. If there was gonna be 3 people, that's another 100. Anyway, that math really starts to add up as far as how many people were really putting in that small of a space.
Correct. And one of the things that I would say to that, Mike, is that surprised me, and I don't remember what the committee is called that I attended, where it was Cardy and some of the planning commission members and.
Preliminary development.
Okay, well, I couldn't remember what the name of it was, but one thing that I learned in that meeting that really surprised me was, I think it was Alan or someone had reached out to the school board to talk about the kids in the school. And they talked about the fact that we're down 500 and some kids, that our attendance is like sliding. And I think about that and I'm like, how is that even possible? So while the concern about our kids is legitimate, and I agree with you, Mike, I say that maybe we have more space than we think as well. I don't know.
I can bring up a couple of numbers that I came up with today with an hour and a half conversation with the superintendent. And we're going down to about 30 kids a year in the school system. This year, we have about 1,512 kids in K through 12, and last year we had 1,540. So we're only down like 30 kids in the whole school system as of this year. So it's not.
Well, but he was talking
I'm just
over
saying,
a
I
period
mean,
over
these
a
are
period of
numbers
time. Sure.
The other fact that I had come up with as well, just for general knowledge, that is based on not your 8,000 square foot. That's based on your 10 to 12,000.
Correct, and we wouldn't expect to do more lots simply because of the smaller lot size. The smaller lot size was to not so much take for a big area like this as it would be for some of our other R3 land, where you would be able to put a few homes together on a small acreage.
Those are just basic facts that
Sure.
numbers I was coming up with. You
Yep.
know, wrong or right, I mean, well, the right, but good or bad.
I
should
appreciate
say.
that.
A quick question.
Yes, sir.
What market research are you doing in terms of the retirement community? I keep coming back to it because when you do those projections, is that with the 10,000 to 12,000 square foot lot, or is it with the smaller, when you look at?
So I didn't, when I came in front of the PRCA or whatever it was, I waited to, I'm planning to hire somebody to do that study that I
Okay,
was asked to
okay.
do. I have not yet done that. I wanted to first see where we're at with some of these, take the temperature of where we're at with some of these things before I do that. But I will do a complete market analysis from top to bottom. That was requested by me as soon as we figure out whether or not we're open to making some of these changes. Because what it did is it would have made my analysis null and void if I can't accomplish some of what I would like to do here. My analysis wouldn't be accurate because my numbers wouldn't be accurate.
I guess in the state right now, a 55 and up, a retirement community, let's just say maybe even one that's out toward the mountains, larger lots or smaller lots?
Smaller.
They are smaller.
Yeah, because when you think about it this way, when those elderly people, one of the reasons the push is to go there is they want no hassle. They don't want to carry the garbage. They don't want to cut no grass. They don't want to push any snow. They want simple, easy. Here we are, and that's the push for that.
I guess I would also like to make the comment as well that this is based on your acreage.
Sure.
If somebody else wants to come in here and do that double amount, that's really gonna be adding into everything that I talked about, the school system and et cetera. So,
Yeah, that's correct. And one
I
of the
mean,
things.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I didn't mean
No,
to cut you off.
I just wanted to reiterate that this was based on your model.
That-
And not possibly even a big one or a smaller one.
Yeah, that's correct. And one of the things that I would say to that, Mike, that as we looked at it, was one of the things that I asked Alan was, how many acres do we have here that is R3? and it's not much. The localities, there's not much here, so the control really comes back, the check and the balance for this proposal comes back to the board. Where are you gonna allow it, and when and how are you gonna allow more R3 if and when that's what you want? With the acreage that we have now, there's not. This wouldn't bring significant change.
So once again, what is the acreage of the R3 you have right now?
30 acres.
And the balance is A1?
Yes, sir.
And that was, what's the acreage on that?
I have almost 100. So this piece right here, I think, is in the 80s, and I
78
bought
for this
another
one.
6 acres back over here in the back, and I just purchased another 3 acres over along Churchview. So by the time it's all put together, it's almost 100 acres.
And this is based on 80? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that we just took that mother piece, yeah. But that didn't count the other, because what I would anticipate doing is like the other 6 acres that I bought and some of that, that's just going to go to green space. It's not very buildable. This is the buildable, easy to deal with area of the 100 acres. There's a creek. The reason it stops right there, and like if you look on the very right of your screen, you see that last cul-de-sac. There's a lot more land over there, but there's a pretty good sized creek that runs through there, and I wouldn't want to deal with mitigating that to cross over and just to get a couple lots. But again, I think like you said a little bit earlier, Mike, I would hope that we can see the big picture. This is an example. This is not what this amendment is about. This is for other R3.
It's an example.
Sure.
That gives us a good example.
Exactly. Yep.
So Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. So, and I do appreciate the example. I did not do the math. I was looking over some things earlier and wanted to do it, but I was working and I really just didn't. I was like, it seemed really
That's a
involved.
few of us.
So if you took this proposed change, which does have, I did look at some other surrounding counties ordinances. Orange is a nightmare. I don't even know how to find stuff in that. But you know, it seemed to me that it was more required open space, but the proposals you have here are a little less requirements than what I saw surrounding. But right now existing, we do have that 8 dwelling units per acre.
Correct.
In our existing R3 zoning ordinance. If, you know, presuming, you know, everything kind of went through as you were proposing, with that 8 units per acre and the lot sizes and the open space, which is already in the ordinance as well, all went to fruition, can you put 8 units, and what would those 8 units be like? Would that automatically make it townhomes, or what? Do you know?
So, no, I don't. That's the honest question to that is no, I don't. I would be very much open to basically setbacks and lot size was what I was driving toward here for a bit more of an economical and orderly development, okay? I feel personally that it would be in good order to use dwelling units per acre and open space as your check and your balance to these minimum lot sizes. And I feel strongly that way because I don't think that my view and my vision wouldn't be to just that we go in here to pack this in, but rather that we use our checks and our balances and we have a yield. We have a yield per acre that we're comfortable with, along with green space that we're comfortable with, and then we create a nice development and we wind up with 30 acres, 35 acres of nothing but green space. That's my vision. That would be my vision, and so I'd be very happy if the board or you as a planning commission would be willing to address some of that and create a check and a balance that the development like this could be done that would be orderly and neat with lots of green space.
Yeah, I appreciate that answer, and that's basically what I'm getting at. Your vision and somebody else's profit, another developer's profit may not align.
Correct.
And if it's in the ordinance, then certainly that would be followed. So if you have as an example, you're looking at putting 262 houses on 100 acres, let's just say roughly. And somebody else could look at putting 800
Correct.
dwelling units
Correct.
on some. And so I think that's worth consideration on our part.
I agree 100%. I would like a check and a balance to be put in there. And to be fair, I felt like my ask was probably big enough to change in this code section without coming with a complete redo of the whole thing to say, here, let's rewrite the R3. But I really would, I would respect and appreciate if the board and you as a planning commission would consider putting those checks and balances in there that we don't overload it.
Well, one of those checks is that you have to allow 40% for open space.
That's correct.
So at least most of that lot, almost half the lot will be open space.
And the other thing that I'm willing to do, if y'all would like for me to, is I would be willing to go back to my engineer and say, okay, if we adopt the changes that I've proposed, I want you to take this 100 acres and I want you to meet every check and balance that we have in our R3 code, and I want you to put as many units on there as you can. I would be happy to produce that document to be looked at, to where you would have the actual numbers. Here's your green space, here's your dwelling units per acre with your yield, and I don't care who the developer is, this is the max.
But I appreciate that. I don't want to show my ignorance, but is a acre like 40,000 square feet?
Yeah,
plus
43,560.
Yep. So, you can do the math right now. 10,000 square feet plus 2,000 square feet for each additional unit. You can eat up.
5. That comes up to about 5, minus 40%.
You'd be 24,000 square feet on 8 units. And you're going to have probably your 40% open space.
Correct.
That's your 8,000 that you're proposing. What would that make the lot width that you're thinking
I
about?
think we had put it at 65 or.
So that's still 65? So
Yeah,
what's
still
your-
65 feet.
So you're recommending making it not as deep then?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. It honestly, I don't see how that you can, with the way it's currently written, with the width of the lots and the lot sizes, R3 is not economical at all. Like you can't build an orderly subdivision with how it's written. Do I want it to be written like I have it proposed? It doesn't have to be. I just like something better.
I'm going to throw one more thing out there that I talked to prior zoning administrators about, and I was pretty much told, I was kind of laughed at a little bit, but I found out my answer today after years of looking for it, and my question was, and has been for years, can the county, do we have the legal right to limit how many building permits we issue? It was a short search, but I did find an answer of yes. I might dig deeper and get the answer no, but I'm not saying, that's something that I've been interested in a long time, to stop a huge developer from coming in and saying, I'm building 800 houses, there's nothing you can do about it, we don't have proffers in place, you know what I mean? Which would devastate the county.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the answer, but what do you think about, you mentioned you would certainly expect proffers and different things. I'm assuming that means money to the county for schools and infrastructure. What do you think about limiting a large development through permit regulations?
Probably wouldn't be my vision. Probably wouldn't be my vision.
Just curious.
But I guess so where part of the checks and balances, again, that we come back to is we're just gonna use this as an example, right? It's in front of us, we'll talk about it. 30 acres of that is R3. Now, Al Esch would like for all of that to be R3. I mean, that's reality, right? So, I mean, it's no secret. So therefore, the board and you guys, as a planning commission, when I come to rezone, that's when you can say, hey, look, what's in it for me? You can't, but you will. And so my point is the control still lies at this desk. At the basis of where you guys are, the control still lays there. But there's land in Culpeper County right now that has it's right there beside the country store. That land beside the country store, it's got a list of proffers. It was proffered 30 years ago. It's still there today. If you're going to develop that land, you're going to follow those proffers. It's like $5,000 or $6,000 a unit, and there's these restrictions and those restrictions. They're right there on the books. So if we go to rezone this, then that's the place and the time, I think, to deal with some of those community development numbers, and proffers, and those kind of things.
I appreciate that, and I'm gonna stop talking here. This is the last thing I'm gonna say on this. But, Mr. Esch, with all due respect, I've been about 5 years up here. One thing I learned is not to put my faith in individual people, but into our zoning ordinance and the enforcement of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the enforcement of it relies on individual people. But that's where I'm at on that.
I understand.
I have a question for Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, could the county impose a number that would be the amount of building permits they'd have to issue?
I'm not aware of that, being able to put in that kind of limit, but I can look into it.
I'm just curious.
I mean, could you call basically a moratorium on building is really what that would effectively be. I don't know the answer to that. I would be doubtful, but I don't know the answer.
I would be doubtful too, but I'm still curious.
I would hope that we're all good and decent people and that we could head that off long before it came to that place.
Couple of questions. Mr. Esch, I know this is not a site plan, but
Yes, sir.
it seems that earlier you discussed the notion of having no on-street parking,
That is correct.
all off-street,
Yes, sir.
so you couldn't have a birthday party.
That's not considered off-street parking.
Oh, I see.
I mean, if you have an auction and they pull off on the side of the road and sell a place, is that off-street parking? I mean, I don't know. I would, to your point, though, you make a good point. I would anticipate that this would have a Malvern-style community center. If you do a development like this, it would almost certainly have a community center.
But primarily just transportation vehicles, no RVs, no boats.
Yes, sir. That's how Mr. Payne makes his money.
Storage
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't allow it in these kind of communities.
I've got a question for Alan. So I'm just making sure, does the 4 and 10 rule also work with the R3?
No.
Okay. So when we have another lot here, say of 8 acres, what would we be looking at if this guy that's got 40-28D, he's got a little over 8 acres? He could do the same thing he could almost triple the size, triple the amount of
Where
homes
is
on
where
this.
is the lot you're referring to, Mike?
It's on this piece of paper we got earlier.
All right, which one you want? 40 dash what? All right, let me look.
28D.
It would all, the thing with the project would be no water and sewer.
Let's
To
just say,
answer your
let's say
question.
for argument's sake, Pete, that there is water and sewer. The other piece that goes in that is again your green space and then it also goes in stormwater management. If anytime anything like that would be done, stormwater management would eat up a portion of your land.
Where's your stormwater management?
It would be.
I don't see it.
It's not on there.
Where would it be?
Where would it be? It would
Yeah.
be over, like in between the two, in between in between the
Where the
big,
where the multifamily
Yes.
homes are and the townhomes?
Mhm, that's the low area.
Okay.
So everything would come there to there, and then there would also be another one down here on this looking at it'd be on your right, down to the right
Yeah.
side.
If you were to redo one of these, it'd be nice to see stormwater management on
Sure,
there.
sure.
Al, dumb question here. Is
Wait a minute,
stormwater
before-
management,
I was gonna answer my question.
Sure. So for 4028D, that is an 8-acre parcel that is zoned R3. And as a part of a subdivision to make multiple lots, of course, let's say somebody could divide that one up using the same criteria of ordinance that Mr. Esch is proposing here, if adopted. It's just a smaller scale project.
That's right.
So they would submit a site plan that would presumably encompass nearly the entire parcel here. They would certainly disturb more than an acre of earth, have a DEQ submittal, common plan of development, and it's the same thing. So just smaller scale, but yes,
That was my point, that we're not just talking about Al's
Correct.
yes.
thing here. We're talking about all these other ones that are R3 that could still be in the same thing.
Correct.
Did you look to see where that was by chance?
I did. It's in resettlement. I'll pull it up. I got it sitting right here. If I can find my cursor.
So that could be potentially with water and sewer.
Sure. I mean, as the crow flies, it's not far from the plan at all. In
Right.
fact, this whole community could use public water and sewer. If we're honest, they need it.
The one
Resettlement.
highlighted right there where the cursor is.
Yeah, so I mean, you're 29, Al's, Fishback's up here, Al's property, and then you've got Little Church here, which is what Mr. Snyder referred to.
So my point being is that we're not just talking about Al's spot.
There's,
here. We're
there's a
talking
number of
about
properties
all
that would
these
apply.
others. Yeah.
What was the total acres, Alan? Do you remember? Did you total those up?
Of all the R3 properties,
Yeah, outside of mine. It wasn't only like 30 acres, wasn't it?
there are 44 properties
40, okay,
that are
44
zoned
that
R3.
Okay.
The total area in R3 zoning, and it's a little bit of an estimate because some of these parcels are split zoned, is about 154 total acres in
Okay, I didn't
R3.
realize that much.
Al, the question I had, does stormwater also count as green space? And I'm just thinking of how large that one is down at on 29 in Shelby. I mean, that thing's probably, what, 4 or 5 acres, that stormwater
Yeah,
management?
I think it counts as green space.
It does count as
yeah.
green space.
So at this point, we're looking at your ask for the 8,000 square
Sure.
foot lot, 65-foot frontage. But we're still dealing with the existing 8 per acre and the existing 40% green space.
Correct.
So that wouldn't be changing.
That would not be changed.
So that's,
I think to your point, Steve, is that I think it would be something that I would be willing to put some work into and table my request for the planning commission and the board to double check that our check and balance of green space and units per acre is where we want it. And I'm more than willing to add those changes into mine at a comfortable rate. I'd be very happy to do that. This is not something that I'm in a hurry with or feel like we have to get done this month or next month. If that's something that the planning commission or the board would entertain and want to double check those numbers, that they're good with those, I'm happy to rewrite those as well.
thank you. Other questions? Any public comment? We have one public. Anybody online? Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
y'all.
your
I
input.
appreciate it.
Food for thought, yes. Okay. Case number ZOA-09-25-01, ordinance for steep slope development. This is the first actual workshop. This has been presented by the Planning Commission Subcommittee. Is proposing a new ordinance to regulate development on steep slopes. Alan, let's get your input on this, please.
Well, I think we're in for a pretty fluid discussion here. I did have a pass through the ordinance and made many comments. The comments off to the right side are mine, and were made after some deliberation with our erosion and sediment control administrator, looking at our existing ordinances and reviewing some DEQ regulations. If we want to adopt this ordinance, we still have a lot of wood to chop, as it were. There's a lot that needs doing. I'm having, and bear with me if I overstep a little bit, but I'm having a hard time seeing in its current form the purpose that it serves when Chapter 14 already addresses this with our existing DEQ regulations. So I had a hard time navigating why exactly we want it, but certainly for discussion, I have a lot of things to address in the comments there, so we can proceed however you like.
Well, for opening discussion purposes, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is where we would put this. So that's,
Before we decide to put it, we
Well,
need to decide
yeah.
what we wanna do with it. And the question I got, Steve, is if I own a piece of land and I get an engineer to come out, and that engineer tells me, well, you can drive some piles right here, and you can put this house upside this hill here, and I'm willing to put my stamp on the line for it, should you be able to stop me? You taking away my land rights, if the engineer says it's working, it's on him.
in terms of property rights, that's definitely a point. We do
Yeah.
know that some surrounding counties definitely do this, however.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure Albemarle, for example, has some kind of ordinance, because I have a brother-in-law has a small piece of property in Albemarle, and they tell him, you cannot do anything on this slope. This little piece right here, yes, you can build on it, but the rest of it, you can't do anything. So it doesn't bother some of the other surrounding counties to do that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, so I kind of take the blame for pushing this one to the planning commission, because I was pretty upset about that subdivision we had to do up at Etlin, and you know, I'm up there all the time and I see what I consider it's just not right. But I'm now, after reading what Nathan has put together, which I appreciate, there's a lot of work went into that, and Alan's comments and your comments too, Pete. I don't know, I've kind of changed my mind. So if the planning commission were to decide to dispense with this, it wouldn't upset me personally. But of course, that's y'all's decision to bring it forward or not. But that's just my opinion at this point.
Nathan, as you all were putting this together, what was kind of the feeling there among the standing committee?
Yeah, so I mean, and that's what I was gonna bring up now, and Mr. Yeah, I appreciate your comments. Is, the first thing we ask ourselves is, is this something that we think deserves to be looked at, and, and how much thought to put into it. Obviously, Albemarle, I think, out of all the surrounding ordinances we looked at, had the most restrictive. And we kind of said, this is basically, if this is what the planning commission wanted, this would be a framework of what that ordinance would look like, which is considerably less restrictive than Albemarle's. But, and there were some question marks there, but I think we were kind of left in a position where we never really could determine how much land that would actually be affected by this and what that building and development would really look like. We changed over some different personnel and different things happened, so, I mean, that's really my first question to the other four people here is, is this something anybody really wants anyway? Or I think that's the first question, so.
Did you talk to other counties and find out whether or not they had similar ordinances? I think I heard Albemarle, but did you actually come up with anything that they had?
I mean, we looked at the existing zoning ordinances for about 6 counties surrounding
Slope
Virginia.
issues.
Slope, in
And they
regards
have
to
them.
slope, yep. Pretty much everybody is regulated in some way, generally by specific ordinance.
To Pete's point, we already do some things that limit the property owner's ability to build on certain places. For example, shrink swell soils. In other counties that might be, maybe in Tidewater, there may be places where you can't build simply because it's,
The building sinks type soil all the time, they just make it a bigger footer.
yeah, but
I mean, I know there's a lot of houses in shrink soil.
it becomes I guess it becomes an issue when the building permit is applied for, is that?
Well, the building department has to tell them that they're working in sink soil, and then they have to go get an engineer and let the engineer design their footer and their walls if they put a basement in it before they can build.
It's
But
just
they
a
can
question of
do it.
extra steps.
So the
Right,
same,
Alan?
It's just a question of extra steps.
Yeah.
It's the same on a steep slope. You have extra steps of engineering than building a standard house on flat ground. If you're on shrink swell, it's the same thing. Do you just need a larger footer, or do you need a full engineered, plan, depending on what it is? It's not a question of are you allowed to, it's just what's involved to do it.
Is that what the other counties were doing? Is that what they were, whoever looked at that?
as
in the
far
other
as I know,
counties?
Albemarle just slightly says you
Yeah.
can't build on a slope like this.
Albemarle was the most restrictive,
Yeah.
and then Rappahannock Green we looked at had basic
Was
requirements.
25% their number two?
Yeah. I mean, needless to say, my
Generally-
brother-in-law cleared a little flat area and he says, I'll sell it. So,
Generally, 25 and up was a no build or extremely restricted build, depending on the jurisdiction. And I mean, in our C1 zoning district also, which is where pretty much all of this land should be, or, the majority of buildable land, sort of restricts that already. And the idea, it seemed like from other counties, where they were basically trying to direct towards the flatter parts of those larger parcels. So presumably, it's a minimum of 10 acres. There's going to be a more suitable site. If you don't regulate it in some way, the person wants to build up on the side of the hill to get some sort of view, then you actually get, it changes the view of the people in the valley because they're looking at houses instead of mountains and stuff. So that seems to be the
yeah.
general idea.
If the consensus is that this is something we should do, we can treat it just like shrink swell soil. Like you said, the engineered design can be required, but that's simply the same as we would do for any other unusual circumstance. So we still come back to the original question is, we have places in the county that we really don't think is suitable for building. And, it's true that it belongs to the property owner, but,
What was the basis? Was the basis was the erosion control, or was the basis of no build based on what? What
well,
was?
this instigating incident.
No, I know what that is. I'm talking about when they talk to other counties. I mean,
Oh,
if they've got this ordinance, what, did you?
Yeah, I'll
find?
Albemarle's was, I'd say, 90, grandfathered clauses were acceptable, but it's that all others were to preserve, what, I think you took it verbatim, like preserve the ambiance and aesthetic qualities. I think that was actually directly from Albemarle, so, more population down there and different view sheds, but Albemarle's, if you want to go to the strictest, it was to preserve the views.
So, Mr. Wright, if this was passed, what would it do with all the lots was created in Madison County in C1 before zoning?
So have they built on them or not?
Haven't been built on, but they're paying taxes as a building lot.
So, the argument for them would be is you're essentially taking all use of my land away.
Dezoning.
This is taking. So I think, that would be the argument for the landowner. And then for us, it's
The only comment I had on this is, some of the details, that's admittedly open-ended for this discussion. The other would be, are you gonna allow some sort of special use exception to build if it's not otherwise meeting the statute? Are you gonna create some sort of SUP ability to build if it's a violation?
Because it's an awful lot of lots throughout the county in C1 that was done way before zoning.
Yeah. What about the possibility of just including in this ordinance that we're looking at, the requirement for the engineered foundations or whatever, however we wanted to say something like that? That would not be saying you can't build on this. It just says there's an additional intermediate step that you got to do.
Right, I mean, would be totally within the purview of a county government to try to regulate that, if it wanted to.
So what kind of degree do we have to say that you can't be built on it unless you do special engineering?
I'd leave it up to Jamie and then. I agree. DEQ, Health Department, I'm sorry. So, like those slopes in Etland that we were talking about, just getting the drain field and all that stuff up there is gonna be a challenge, right? So that's, Health Department's gonna handle that, right?
Yeah, but if I understand correctly, they said they identified, they had an engineer out there.
It could-
Identified this
right.
little spot and this little spot.
But I'm saying it's no use us saying they're gonna have to do all this with the engineering, because Health Department's gonna tell them that, DEQ's gonna tell them that, and Jamie and his folks are gonna tell them that, right?
Well, a lot of the, and I know a few of them, a lot of the houses that are built now, like in C1, they've got that drip system for drain field, where it has its own little sewer station and everything comes out and drips out into the topsoil. So that's the kind of drain field they put on those slopes now. It's not like a drain field that you and I have.
Right, and VDH will approve alternative
Yes, sir.
systems, yes.
I know where there's a house just been built, like this.
So I guess the fundamental question for what you're saying now is, does when someone applies for a building permit, what kind of criteria does Jamie use in looking at approving a building permit for this kind of a slope? Does he have criteria?
Well, he's gonna have a set of plans to go by, and he's either gonna approve or disapprove, correct, Alan?
The person who's doing the building is going to need an ENS permit for the land they're disturbing. Madison County requires large drain fields, especially if you're starting with a subdivision here. So you got a 10,000 square foot drain field that you have to have approved and a 10,000 square foot reserve. Not that you're breaking all that ground at once, but by the time you build a house, driveway, put your drain field in, you need an ENS permit, which is going to evaluate the slope and the erosion control measures that are going to have to be in place. As far as your building goes, along with your building permit application, you're going to have a set of plans that's been stamped by an engineer. Someone's hanging their career on those plans. And Jamie will review them and ensure that they meet the requirements of the building code before he approves them. If they do not meet the requirements, he will ask for revisions. We are treating everybody fairly in this way. So the building code is very extensive in its requirements for slopes, the soil type, and all manner of issues. And so if we're treating everyone the same in that way, then we ought to let the engineers handle it and not tell people what they can and can't do just because it happens to be more expensive to put something on a slope. It's my opinion.
Okay, so the existing building code does have, independently of us, regulations
Extensive.
for, okay. Or that kind of answers my question on that. And that answers, I think, Pete's objection too, as far as this may not be necessary in terms of building on these slopes.
That's my opinion.
So when we're talking about the view shed, we're just talking about somebody else seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that, we should be, in my opinion, should be taking away other people's property rights so somebody else can see their house. That's just me.
I suspect that Mr. Smith would call that a NIMBY argument.
Well, we just have one that happened recently with one of our friends who was suing his neighbor preemptively, talking about not allowing to build a fence on their property because it would affect his view shed.
Talk more about that offline.
Pete, did that property you were talking about built like that, did everything look in order and appropriate? And,
Fine to me.
I mean, that's, you know,
I mean, the house has got a tremendous view, and drain field, I've walked across it, the drain field, you don't even know it's there. You know,
yeah.
and it just lays right down beside the hill. Of course, they had to put some topsoil and stuff like that in there, but most of the sewer is treated before it goes into that, drip system.
I grew up on the side of Ellie Mountain, and I'm telling you, like, it doesn't look like a mountain. Everybody laughs when I say that. If you walk from the top to the bottom, or ride your bike down it from the top to the bottom, or vice versa, yeah, it's a mountain, you know.
Down is fun, up is not fun, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, again, I think pretty much all the surrounding ordinances in place like this, we're trying to direct people towards the flatter part of their mixed slope parcels. And, you know, whatever. Make a motion to scrap it and move on.
Making it more difficult to try and build on something like this.
Generally, which it already is.
It already is, it sounds like. Yeah, and that's always one of our options. We may, the standing committee can study it and decide it's not practical. After all that work, it's hard to say that, but.
I know.
Put a couple months
Good,
on.
we looked into it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and as you know, Mr. Chairman, or maybe you don't know, the candid comments throughout the committee were pretty much in line with what's being discussed right now, so.
If I could add one,
Nathan did a good job of putting anything together based on the
honest,
comment.
I
Putting a
thought
good
about
face on it.
just like, really just one line, like if it exceeds like 45 degrees, which is whatever, you know, we looked at slopes and what they actually equated to. You know, like, just don't build on it. You know what I mean?
So, Mr. Chairman, one further thing. So since Clay and I are sitting here, I tell you what, I think maybe we'll put this on our agenda for Tuesday, discuss it with the other three members of the board, and I get a consensus from you guys right now that if we were to decide to withdraw it, you guys would be comfortable with that? Is that, yeah? Okay.
okay. Anybody object to that? Okay, sounds like.
So,
We could, I can assure you from the committee, James does not object to that, nor his family.
sorry, Nathan. Thanks for the
They routinely
effort,
build
though.
on 45-degree angles.
We learn and we move on. I learned that he should be in charge of the committee.
There you go. Let him figure out the meeting times. All right, any public comment? Our one member of the public left, so. Anybody online? All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Yes, okay. sorry.
For Alan. So, last workshop, we had Rodney, what, the gentleman on Hoover Road,
We had Mr. Lipscomb.
Lipsum. Where does he sit right now?
It has been determined that his activities fall under agritourism as defined by the state of Virginia in the Commonwealth's attorney opinion. He does not require a special use permit. He requires a lot of other things,
Okay.
but not a special use permit.
I'm just wondering, because it was just dropped, so I didn't know.
Yep, that's why.
Okay.
Beg your pardon? No. I don't think any are owed.
We needed somebody to tell us that we were running into problems there, so.
So can I ask about that, please?
What would you like to know?
So if that's agritourism, What about these other venues that are also agritourism that we have to get special use permits? What was the definition that made this one, that didn't have to go through this, that others do?
The terms that are outlined by the Attorney General are very broad. We're currently reviewing options for addressing this and narrowing the scope of what agritourism means, as well as figuring out what a substantial impact is to the general public. So work is ongoing on that, and I suspect in very short order, we'll have something to present in that regard. So more information on that's coming. Shannon?
If you've got about 4 hours, we can unpack all this. It's a bunch of cross-referencing definitions, and what is, for example, you know, they don't use the word farm, but an agricultural operation is a term of art. And then it's got to be, quote, devoted to bona fide production. And so,
Production, you said.
correct. And so, all these things are,
Did we identify that he's producing something?
well, let's.
Kind of?
Well,
Livestock?
Did you find a definition for bona fide?
No, but actually, Mr. Jewett had some pretty good, that, I think it's devoted to, is also otherwise used in the code for farm in when it's for county assessment reasons. So, short answer is you can make regulations to protect, you know, health, safety, general welfare. We probably need to get an internal definition for the county of what we consider to be consistent with state code, devoted to bona fide production, and then decide if there's any regulations we want to put in place we think that makes sense in terms of making sure it's just not, I'll say free-for-all, but, you know, things like traffic and like how many acres are going to be needed for certain events and things like that. Trying to make some, I'll say, common sense regulations on agritourism to make sure it's not just a blank slate for whoever wants to say, I've got 3 blueberry bushes and I sell blueberries, but I also have a wedding venue.
and an RV park.
And an RV park and a campsite and, right.
On that note, an RV park would still be following the regulations of an RV park, correct?
Great question.
Now, one of the things that they said for agritourism is you can have lodging. So-
Short-term rentals are explicitly excluded under the current opinion.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Wright, if I may be incorrect, and please feel free to correct me, in the state code for land use, there is like yield requirements within consistency of county.
5 acres and $1,000. $1,000 is not statutory. That's what it was. Yeah, everybody thinks that, but it was
Producing $1,000
25 years ago, that's inflation adjustment.
It seems as though, yeah, okay.
There are some minimums on livestock.
Like per acre,
There are minimums on the yield for hay, for example.
yeah,
That's gonna be consistent with county yields over the past 3 years.
correct. I thought. We'll look into that. It's upcoming.
I think everybody agrees the agritourism can actually be a boon to help keep farmland, right? It can be a supplemental income for places that we want to keep. I think what we're worried about is people abusing the system.
Absolutely, and it can be a very positive thing. It's good stuff for the county, it's good stuff for people.
Right.
It's good stuff for everybody, but, like you say, the abuse. While you guys are looking into those sort of things, if you don't mind, I'm curious if you look into something else, why Virginia Lawn Care out here on 29 was not in compliance and were required to rezone their property, pay 5 years back taxes, and lost their land use status, but Lee Highway Nursery is in compliance. They seem like very similar businesses.
Okay, it's a very specific question.
And I will wait for you guys to get back to me on that. Thank you.
Actually, I want to hear this one.
Too soon, okay. Any other discussion at this point on, were we talking about the slope? Okay, all right, so I understand we're going to be relieved of the necessity of doing that probably then, okay.
Well, I mean,
Yep, okay.
more than likely, yes. So we got three other board members that need to weigh in, of course.
Okay, let's see, I think we're at the point of upcoming hearings and workshops now.
All right, so we've got some public hearings coming up. First one on the agenda will be the livestock on lots less than 2 acres. And so I will be happy to finally put the goat issue at rest. Mr. Esch, in his zoning text amendment, now I know tonight he mentioned being willing to table his application if the planning commission wanted more time. If there's any interest in that, talk to Mr. Esch. He can let me know in writing if he wants to table his application. We have a tabled application for Mr. Fuchs. Depending on how the vote goes for the livestock on less than 2 acres ordinance, will determine if he carries on with his application for a special use permit or not. While we have the Towers LLC on here as a pending completed application, we've not heard anything from these folks since preliminary development. So I'm going to take them off my list, and just if they come back, then so be it. Mr. Payne is on here, who we saw tonight for his first and what will be his only workshop prior to the public hearing, so I'm sure he's appreciative of that. We'll take Steep Slope off of the agenda here, and I'm sure that Mr. Schneider will have some comments for development impact in the near future. I don't have anyone scheduled for preliminary development review right now, but if we get something, we'll certainly let you know and put it on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Other items from planning commission, staff, or public? No public here. I do have one thing I wanted to bring to the commission's attention for, that was why Jim Alexander was here, but he got tired of us and left. For your information and hopefully to be on the lookout for information. This past weekend, there was an aircraft flying a pattern. The aircraft belongs to a company that does aerial surveillance, terrain surveillance, mapping, usually hired by power companies. They were mapping a corridor from North Anna, the power plant, roughly the North Anna power plant. They can't go over that. But adjacent to that, to the Pratt's substation. So the corridor is, that they were mapping is directly north of Route 230 and south of the Robinson River. So it's directly from North Anna to the Pratt substation. So just thought I'd bring that to the Planning Commission's attention. See if you hear anything going on about that. Being a naturally suspicious person, I suspect Dominion Energy may be planning another attempt to put a transmission line into Madison. Other than that, I won't share my further suspicions about why they might be doing that, but anyway. If anyone has questions about that, by the way, Jim Alexander has the flight tracking maps. He can show you the path that the airplane was taking and the times that they were there and all that information. He has the N number for the aircraft. since it passed over his property, which he's my near neighbor, so I did see the airplane too. But he was able to get the N number off the aircraft and determine who it belonged to and what its flight path had been that day. It was Saturday and Sunday last weekend. Any other items from the planning commission staff or public? Okay, general public comment. Do we have anybody online? No. Thank you. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Motion made,
Second.
seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
If you're gonna get a second on it.
Do our 4:30
He didn't want to leave.